Words will be in the description. I hope you enjoy this one too.
I wasn't hoping to take on MAGA, but if that's what it takes to stand up and say, you cannot brutalize people like this, and inciting mobs against individuals is what I thought you were accusing the Democrats of doing. And now
the first word of the lesson is incite. Incite is to stir up some sort of very strong reaction or to cause harmful action to occur. So it typically goes with words that suggest some sort of negative reaction, like violence, to incite violence. Pay attention to the spelling of this word. So it's spelled with a C, and you'll see it in the description. Let's go back and hear this word again.
To stand up and say, you cannot brutalize people like this, and inciting mobs against individuals is what I thought you were accusing the Democrats of doing. And now you've stared into the abyss and it stares back.
Abyss is our second word of the lesson. It is a noun, and literally it refers to a vast void, emptiness. But you can also use this word figuratively to talk about a situation that is potentially dangerous or offers no hope and it's quite desperate. Abyss. And you could use it in the phrase to stare into the abyss.
I mean, Chris Rufo said, this is narcissism marked as idealism. It's absurd to expect politics to conform to one's individual preferences and idiosyncrasies.
So someone says that it is too idealistic if you want politics to conform to your preferences and idiosyncrasies. And idiosyncrasy is some sort of behavior or mannerism or an aspect of a person's character that is very peculiar and it's exclusive to that particular individual. It's a great word, idiosyncrasy. And in the plural, idiosyncrasies. So it is a countable word. Let's go back and hear this word again.
I mean, Chris Rufo said, this is narcissism marked as idealism. It's absurd to expect politics to conform to one's individual preferences and idiosyncrasies. The essence of politics is decision under imperfect conditions. If you can't figure out how to rank Trump and Harris, you're just navel-gazing.
Navel-gazing is a great term to learn. Navel is your belly button, and if you're accused of navel-gazing, it means that you're too focused on yourself and you're obsessing with something which is just your own preference and forgetting about the bigger picture, losing sight of the bigger picture. So you can imagine someone just focusing on their belly button and not paying attention to what's going on around them.
Your response?
Chris who? I mean, it's sort of my response. In other words, this is an individual who's been very successful arousing passions. And he's been very effective in being very aggressive. I think he has actually an excellent point that in many ways the Republicans have been too passive. And so in order to compensate for that flaccid aspect of...
Flaccid means weak. It's a great word. It means not firm. Another good word to learn here is tenuous, which is a bit more advanced. So he says that their stance has been flaccid, hasn't been strong enough, hasn't been assertive.
Actually an excellent point that in many ways the Republicans have been too passive. And so in order to compensate for that flaccid aspect of Republicans rolling over in the past, he's decided to go red meat as to whether it's narcissism or navel-gazing or cowardice or fence-sitting or any of
A couple good words there as well. Fence-sitting. This is the state of not being able to make up your mind. So there are two camps. So for instance, in this case, we have the Republicans and the Democrats. And Eric, well, he's seemingly not going to pick one candidate over the other. So he has been accused of fence sitting. And sometimes in everyday language we say, don't be a fence sitter. Make up your mind. Don't be a fence sitter. Another good word that was used there is cowardice. So a coward is a person who is very timid. They have no courage whatsoever. And cowardice as well as coward. These are both nouns. A coward is a person, and cowardice is the state of being cowardly. So let's go back and hear these words again.
Aspect of Republicans rolling over in the past, he's decided to go red meat. As to whether it's narcissism or navel-gazing or cowardice or fence-sitting or any of the other epithets.
Or any other, the epithet, when said a bit more quickly. This is a title, an attribute that could be negative or positive. So for instance, we always say Alexander the Great in history. And this title of being a very great commander or leader, that is his epithet. Anyways, I hope you've learned at least one word with my video lesson today. Let me know if you've enjoyed this lesson. Catch up.